Hello students, welcome to the class of digital communication. In the last lecture, we have already seen some mathematical analysis of power spectral density and line codes. Now we are just extending our discussion to the previous concept. We have already seen that the outcome of line code or the line coded signal simply can be written as yt is equal to summation over k ak p of t minus k times of tv, right? And the value of k can be moved from minus infinity to infinity. And we have already also seen that the power spectral density of this signal can be find out with the help of the input signal, power spectral density of input signal, that is SXF. This is the PSD of input signal. So to get the power spectral density of a line coded signal, we have to find out the power spectral density of input signal. So what we have to do to get it? First we have to take the autocorrelation of this input signal. So that autocorrelation can be named as Rxt, and then we have to take the Fourier transform of this autocorrelation function. So it means that we have to do the Fourier transform of this autocorrelation function, and the outcome will be the power spectral density. The outcome will be the power spectral density, right? So this is the concept. So first we have to calculate the autocorrelation of our input signal. So now to get the autocorrelation, we should know the definition of autocorrelation, and we know that what is the meaning of autocorrelation. That if we want to calculate the autocorrelation, it means that the relationship between the pulse and the delayed version of this pulse, right? So for example, if you are having a pulse PT, so you want to find out the relationship between PT and the delayed copy or the delayed version of the pulse PT, right? So to get understand this, for example, I have made a pulse PT, and then if we can make a shifted version of this pulse PT like this. This is this like this, right? So you get a shifted version of the pulse PT. Okay. For example, I shifted this pulse by a width tau, and the duration of this pulse is epsilon. So you can say that this overlapping area, this can have the width of epsilon minus tau, and this is the overlapped area. This is the overlapped area which is important for us, right? So if you see a formulatical view of autocorrelation, then we can simply say that Rx tau can be represented as limit t tending towards infinity 1 upon t minus t by 2 to t by 2 x cap t minus tau dt, right? And because we know that in our case our signal is discrete, or we can say that it is in the form of pulses, so we can simply represent the autocorrelation of our signal like Rx tau can be represented as limit t tending towards infinity summation over k hk into hk x epsilon minus tau, so it is like x cap t can be represented by hk height hk, and this can be represented by hk epsilon minus tau. This is the overlapped version of the pulse, and this hk is the height of waveform basically. So here you can simply say that what is the meaning of hk? It is just a height of the pulse, height of the kth pulse, right? It is just a height of the kth pulse, and every pulse is having their strength. We know that we have started with ak, right? So this ak is what? Actually, if you divide ak by epsilon, you will get the height of the pulse hk, right? So here you can say that if you are increasing the width epsilon, then your height will decrease. If you are decreasing the pulse width, your height may increase, but the strength of the input signal, that is ak, it will remain always constant, and it should be, right? The value of 1010 cannot be changed. The representation, the waveform which you are using for the representation, of 1010, you can change the height and width of that pulse, right? But the multiplication of this hk and epsilon should always be a constant value, that is ak. So 1 will always remain 1 and 0 will always remain 0, right? Now you can see that if you know that hk can be ak upon epsilon, so what you can do here, you can just put the value of hk here in this equation. So further, rx tau can be written as limit t tending towards infinity summation of over k. This can be written as ak square upon epsilon square into epsilon minus tau, right? And further we can write down it like limit t tending towards infinity summation over k ak square epsilon minus tau divided by epsilon square, right? Or we can simply write down here that it can be written as limit t tending towards infinity summation of ak square upon epsilon, and it can be written as epsilon minus tau upon epsilon. And this relation can be further mathematically arranged as rx tau is nothing but r naught upon epsilon tb into 1 minus tau upon epsilon. So we have introduced a new term, that is r naught, right? So here this is just a substitution of a certain value here. For example, this we can simply write down that r naught can be simply written as r naught is equal to limit t tending towards infinity tb upon t summation of ak square, right? So if you put the value of this r naught in the previous equation, here, for example, this is your equation number 1, then you can simply say this is equation number 1, and if you put the value of r naught here in equation number 1, you will automatically get the same original value of autocorrelation, right? So this is nothing different, we have just mathematically substitute this factor r naught. I will tell you that what is the meaning of r naught. So now we can say that the r naught can be represented as limit of t tending towards infinity tb upon t summation of ak square, and we know that if our t is tending towards infinity, it means that t is very large, right, and tb is very small. So you can say that we can have n number of pulses incorporated in that whole time period. So n can be represented as t upon tb. N can be represented as t upon tb. So you can divide by the whole time period by a single bit duration to get the number of pulses. So this is nothing but the number of pulses, right? So here you can say that r naught can be further written as limit t tending towards infinity 1 upon n summation of ak square. So you can see here that ak square is basically, you can see that this is the summation of the strength of the signal, so ak square, and you are just dividing this whole summation to number of pulses. So basically it is averaging of the strength, right? It is averaging of the strength. So r naught can be the time averaged strength of the signal. The representation of r naught means that it is the time average strength of the signal. So you can represent it like ak square, and you can put this sign like this. This is nothing but the time average, right? Now we have calculated the value of r naught. Now further we can calculate the value of r1, r2, right? So what is the role of, means what is the meaning of this r naught? Actually, you can say here that r naught, r1 and dash dash rn, these are nothing but the discrete autocorrelation function. Discrete autocorrelation function. We know that in our case, our signal is discrete, so the values of the autocorrelation function will also be discrete, and those all values can be represented by this r naught, r1 and rn. And at the last, we will see that we have to combine these all values r naught up to rn. Whatever the values will exist, we have to combine those all values, and then we have to take the Fourier transform to get the power spectral density. So this is important. First we have to get the power spectral density of any line code, we have to calculate the value of R0, we have to calculate the value of R1 and up to Rn, and then we have to take the Fourier transform of these values to get the power spectral density of line code, right? So we have calculated R0. R0 is nothing but it is a time average value of AK square, and we know that AK is what? It is strength of the kth pulse of our input signal, right? Kth bit, right? This is strength of kth bit. So this is R0, right? Now we can also calculate the R1. We can also calculate R2. So we'll see the calculation of R1 and R2 in the next lecture, because I don't want that lecture should be long. It should not lose the interest. So till now we have calculated the value of R0, and the calculation of the value of R1 and the rest things we will see in the next lecture. Thank you very much, and we'll meet in the next lecture.